Yes, ma'am, both. I
Okay.
can see.
Okay. So we started with median nerve yesterday, right? But we could not complete, right? So we will continue with median nerve. So how is the median nerve formed? Median nerve, it is formed from medial root, like both the cords, like medial cord and lateral cord. Two cords are involved in the formation of median nerve. So we will just have a look at the brachial plexus. So as to recollect, see here, C5, C6 are joining to form upper trunk, C7 is continuing as middle trunk, C8 and T1 is continuing as lower trunk, isn't it? So now if you observe the anterior divisions of upper and middle trunk are forming the lateral cord. From the lateral cord, this is the lateral root of median nerve. Okay, and we know like C8 and T1, they are joining to form lower trunk. So this anterior division, it is now continuing as medial cord. So from the medial cord, you are finding this is the medial root of median nerve. So from the lateral cord, we have lateral root. From the medial cord, we have medial root of median nerve. Okay, so that means, so from this like formation, median nerve is formed in axilla where the union of the lateral and medial roots, which are medial root is derived from medial cord, lateral root is derived from lateral cord. Okay, lateral cord, lateral root, medial cord, medial root, and this is our median nerve, and formation is there in the axillary region. Okay, now first of all you should observe this picture very carefully, then automatically whole course you will understand very easily. Now see here, see this is the medial root, right? Because this is near to midline. This is the lateral root. So this V, whatever V or Y, whatever you are seeing, this is completely median nerve. Okay, beta, are you able to understand? Okay. Now, what is the name of this artery? Axillary artery, continuing as brachial artery. Now, if you see the initial course of this median nerve, initially it is lateral to brachial artery. It crosses the brachial artery from lateral to medial side, and then it becomes medial to the brachial artery. Isn't it, beta? Now, this is cubital fossa region. If you remember cubital fossa, I told you we have the order as MBBR, isn't it? So, median nerve is the most medial content of the cubital fossa. So, laterally to the median nerve, we have brachial artery, bicipital aponeurosis, superficial branch of radial nerve. Now, we know here we have a muscle called as pronator teres. So it actually, that means on the medial aspect of cubital fossa, we have pronator teres. It has humeral head and ulnar head. So it pierces between these two, and then it is going and supplying the front of the arm. Median nerve is, what is the other name given to median nerve? Laborer's nerve. Laborers. Because it is supplying all long flexor tendons of forearm. Okay. So what are the long flexor tendons in the forearm we see? Pronator teres, palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus, flexor pollicis longus, isn't it? Pronator quadratus. All these except flexor carpi ulnaris. Everything is supplied by which nerve? Median nerve. Okay, and we know this median nerve passes through carpal tunnel. That means it goes deep to flexor retinaculum. I have discussed flexor retinaculum also in detail. Medial attachments, I gave you the code PH, pisciform hook of the hamlet. Lateral attachments, I gave you the code ST, scaphoid and trapezium. No? So, we know like this median nerve goes deep to the flexor retinaculum. Once it goes deep to the flexor retinaculum, now it is seen in the palm. Okay, and its distribution is 3.5 digits, and it also goes and supplies the thenar compartment. AFO muscles, do you remember? Except AFO, all muscles of the palm are supplied by deep branch of ulnar nerve, isn't it? So the thenar group, which are those? Abductor pollicis, flexor pollicis, and appendice pollicis. These three thenar group of muscles are also supplied by the median nerve. Then it becomes cutaneous, supplying 3.5 digits. This is actually complete story of median nerve from this picture, and we will go slowly now. So we have seen its course in the arm, in the cubital fossa, in the forearm. Below flexor retinaculum is carpal tunnel, and then we will see its course in palm. Okay, that is. So now see here, beta, this Y is nothing but this becomes the lateral root of median nerve. Near to the midline, this becomes medial root of median nerve. So lateral root and medial root, the final nerve is median nerve, which is running lateral to the brachial artery. This much course you are seeing in the axilla region now. So let us see what is written. The median nerve forms from the medial and lateral cords of brachial plexus. It descends along the lateral side of the third part of the axillary artery, okay, and proximal part of brachial artery, because we know axillary artery is continuing as brachial artery. Now, see here, this is the course. Day before yesterday we were talking. No? So this is our median nerve crossing lateral to medially, and now it has become medial. Is it clear? Hema, Abhinav,
Yes, ma'am.
Raj. So middle of the arm, opposite the insertion of coracobrachialis, the nerve is crossing from the lateral side. It is now coming to the medial side. This is the point of the insertion of coracobrachialis muscle. Okay, then so it runs along the medial side of the brachial artery. Okay, that is better. Then it is appearing in cubital fossa. Is it on medial aspect of cubital fossa or lateral aspect of cubital fossa?
Medial.
Medial. Very good. It appears in cubital fossa beneath the bicipital aponeurosis, and it is resting over the muscle. The name of this underlying muscle is brachialis. This is one of the muscles what we saw in the front of the arm, isn't it? What are the three muscles of the arm we have?
Brachialis, coracobrachialis, biceps.
Excellent. Very good. Emma is studying well, it shows. Nice and happy. So be prepared for the exam, because once we are done with nerves, I will take joints, after which we will be doing upper limb part completion test. Okay, beta? Okay, then see here. So nerve is leaving the cubital fossa by passing through the gap between the two heads of pronator teres, isn't it? See, this is the humeral head, and this is the humeral head, and this is the ulnar head. Okay, it is running between these two. So it crosses the lateral side of ulnar artery, which lies deep to the deep head of pronator teres. Okay, that is. Then see here. See, this is our pronator teres muscle. So humeral head and ulnar head, in between which you can see the humeral head is cut in order to show this nerve is running between the two heads. Now it is running in the flexor compartment. You know all the names, those who were following thoroughly. Okay, just now I have named pronator teres, flexor carpi ulnaris, palmaris longus, flexor carpi radialis, flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus, and flexor flexor carpi ulnaris, okay, pronator quadratus, all this. So it is entering in the flexor compartment of forearm under this tendinous arch. I told you it is sandwiched between two muscles. What are those two muscles? This one is flexor digitorum superficialis. Below is flexor digitorum profundus, and the nerve goes like this. Okay, nerve goes like this between these two muscles. Okay, that is. So about just 5 centimeters above flexor retinaculum, it is seen above, like it is now becoming superficial. It is seen above this one. Okay, so it lies between the tendons of flexor carpi radialis and palmaris longus. Okay, then see it goes deep to the flexor retinaculum. That's how you call it as carpal tunnel. Okay, deep to the flexor retinaculum, and then in front of the ulnar bursa. This bursa also we have discussed. So then it enters into the palm. Okay, so what does it supply in palm?
Except AFO, everything.
Except, no, only A4.
No.
Only A4.
Oh,
beta.
sorry, yeah, only
Yeah,
AFO it supplies.
no,
Sorry.
only A4 of
Sorry, yeah.
thenar compartment.
Thinner, yeah.
है ना?
First and second lumbric.
हाँ बेटा. हाँ, yeah, very good. Ansraj, excellent. First two lumbricals, excellent. I appreciate. Very, very good. Okay, median nerve, it goes deep to the flexor retinaculum. And then, as you said, it is supplying the thenar group of muscles, except adductor pollicis, you can say. Deeper muscle. Then first two lumbricals. So it divides into lateral and medial branches. Okay, these are lateral branches. These are near midline medial branches. Okay. So now let us see what are the muscles it is supplying. In the arm, it is supplying pronator teres. Okay, because it has humeral head starts in the arm, no beta. That's why we have used this word arm. Then in the forearm, all flexors except flexor carpi ulnaris. Flexor carpi ulnaris is supplied by which nerve? Ulnar nerve.
Alarm.
Yeah. Then anterior interosseous nerve to deep flexors. That means anterior interosseous nerve is one of the branches of median only beta. It is supplying all muscles except medial half of flexor digitorum profundus. We know already flexor digitorum profundus medial half is supplied by ulnar nerve, isn't it?
Hmm.
In the palm, we know recurrent branch to all thenar muscles except adductor pollicis. As Ansraj told us, it is supplying first and second lumbrical muscles. Okay, that is.
Hmm.
Okay. So anterior interosseous nerve is one of the branches of median nerve only better. You can also use the word deep branch of median nerve. Okay. So it arises from the median nerve distal to pronator teres. Okay. It descends in front of the interosseous membrane between flexor pollicis longus and flexor digitorum profundus. Deep to pronator quadratus it goes. Okay. Now overall, now cutaneous branches of median nerve, it supplies palm. In the forearm, it starts actually, it supplies the palm. It's called as palmar cutaneous branch. Supplies, we will see with the help of diagram, you will understand. 3.5 digits, I said no, that is palmar digital branches in hand. Obviously, articular branches to the joints. So what are the various joints it supplies? It supplies elbow joint, it supplies radial nerve joint and wrist joint. Okay. So vascular branches are to the blood vessels. Nearby what are there? Axillary, brachial. Okay, like that. Now this is a very good picture, beta. You can see this is our median nerve which is running in carpal tunnel, that is deep to the flexor retinaculum. Then it is entering into the palm, and we know it is dividing into two, like it has medial and lateral. So I told you when I was discussing the artery, superficial and deep palmar arches. Do you remember I asked you to remember the word CP? Common palmar digital branch and proper palmar digital. That word is common beta when you go through your textbooks. So see, these are common palmar digital branches. So the one which is dividing, basically they divided this web spaces better. Okay. Then the branches are called as proper palmar digital branches. This is common. These are proper. CP word you remember. Okay. Cerebral palsy, something like that. It becomes easy. Common palmar digital branches, proper palmar digital branches. Okay. So these two are medial divisions and these two are lateral divisions. Okay. So overall, when you see the first lateral division, you have two separate branches going, one towards the lateral aspect of the thumb and one towards the medial aspect of the thumb. Okay. So one branch, which is the lateral branch, is going on the lateral aspect of the index finger, isn't it? Then the two medial ones are common palmar digital branches, which are generally dividing at the web spaces, and they are dividing into proper palmar digital branches, supplying the adjacent sides of the digits. Like the first lateral one is supplying the adjacent side of index and middle finger. Medial is supplying the lateral aspect of middle finger, sorry, medial aspect of middle finger and lateral aspect of ring finger. If you practice this diagram and when you know this towards thumb is lateral side, towards middle finger is medial side, it becomes easy for you to make out. Okay, so this is, I hope you understood this. Overall 1, 2, 3.5. 3.5 digits cutaneous supply of the palm is coming from median nerve. Basically, it is supplying all long flexor tendons in the forearm. That's how you call it as laborer's nerve. If this nerve is damaged, we cannot do any like heavy work. Like you see laborers carrying such heavy objects, no? How is it possible? Because of the movement of long flexor muscles of the forearm. So they will be paralyzed if this nerve is damaged. Okay, at the same time, if this nerve is compressed, suppose in the flexor retinaculum, if there is any infection, if there is any compression here, you call it as carpal tunnel syndrome, no? So in such case, the cutaneous supply will be lost. no sensation. Okay, and it will be flexed like this. We will see claw hand, partial and complete with the help of pictures. Because this picture is very good, I am giving you all like 360 degrees idea, like what is it actually. Okay, now see beta, this is whatever is shown in blue color, 3.5 digits and that particular area of palm is supplied by which nerve? Median nerve.
Medium.
Huh. So it is supplying the flexors of forearm, intrinsic muscles of hand, lateral half of the palmar surface of the hand, okay, lateral 3.5 digits palmar surface, dorsal surface of the distal phalanges. We know it is laborer's nerve. Okay, that is. Now coming to applied aspect, see injury in the arm. Injury in the arm in the sense which one better upper? It is its course we have seen in axilla also, no? Huh. So then the hand is becoming ape-like. Okay. Then injury in the forearm, pointing index finger. It becomes straight. Okay. Compression in the carpal tunnel is carpal tunnel syndrome. Okay. So now suppose injury in the arm is, what did I say? Ape-like hand, right? Ape-like hand. So what happens? Loss of flexion of second phalanges of all digits. Okay, loss of flexion of terminal phalanx. That means all long flexor tendons are paralyzed. Sensory loss of 3.5 fingers. So wasting of thenar muscles. Okay, because that is supplied by median nerve only. Ape-like thumb deformity. Ape means monkeys and all. Okay, they do not have opposition movement like that. It becomes. Okay, suppose if it is damaged in forearm, then you see weakness of flexion of, you will see this index finger, okay, due to involvement of flexor digitorum superficialis, resulting, it becomes like this better. Hand becomes like this. They will not be able to flex it because of the paralysis of flexor digitorum superficialis. So the finger remains pointed, you call it as pointing of index finger, okay. Then suppose if it is compressed in the below the flexor retinaculum, this is carpal tunnel syndrome, weakness and wasting of thenar muscles, then loss of cutaneous sensation of palmar surface and also 3.5 digits fingers. Yeah, carpal tunnel syndrome itself can be a 3 marks question. Okay. So then how to test this median nerve? There is a test called as Froment sign where you are checking all these long flexor tendons. To perform, generally patient is asked to hold an object, usually a flat such piece of paper between thumb and index finger. Okay, examiner then attempts to pull the object. So basically their tendons are not working now because of this. It will be easily pulled off. Okay. That is, there is one more test which is called as phalanx test, like this it is. Okay, we are able to do, but they won't be able to do. Okay. So in the diagnosis of this carpal tunnel syndromes only, you will see this occurs when median nerve is compressed or squeezed. Okay, they will not be able to do this movement like this. Okay. Hope you understood better.